Hey guys, in the previous video we saw how to manage multiple GitHub accounts on a single machine with SSH keys, but we also saw that the process, for example, that we will mention, even though was very useful, but it also involves some manual steps. So for example, every time you close the git bash, you will lose your SSH keys being loaded, and you have to repeat the whole process manually. So for example, if I try to do SSH at list, it cannot open a connection. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to first get the connection up. So you have to run this and paste. Then if you list, it says the agent has no identities, right? So we want to get rid of this manual process. Then we want to make sure that every time we open up git bash, it should load all the keys automatically. So the way you can do it is, if you go to this GitHub page, official GitHub documentation, if you click on SSH key passphrase, there's a paragraph which mentions auto launching SSH agent on Git for Windows. And in this script, it mentions, like, if you copy paste this script as .profile in your root repository of your username, then you should be able to automatically download the SSH keys. This script will only allow you to load the default key. Let me put it here, which is this one. But let's say if you also want to upload other keys, like for example for Twitter or Facebook, then you have to update this script. So the way, I already made some changes. So for example, if I open this file, I'm calling it profile2, and then I will rename it. So for example, if you want to upload both for default and also for example for Twitter, then you have to add these two lines. Agent run state, if it is 0, agent running with keys. 1 is agent running without keys. 2 is agent not running. So if it is 2, then you first want to start the agent and then you want to load both the keys. If it is 1, the agent is running, so you only have to load the keys. And if it is 0, well, everything is good, right? Then I added a command to list all the keys, and then I added an echo statement to mention that if you want to work not from Git, but if you want to work from vscode, well, go to the repository and work with it. So let's just copy this file, copy it, and the article says that you have to go to the root repository profile. So I'm going to my user repository, Pramod. I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to change the name from profile2 to profile. So once I do this, if I, let's say, close git bash and open it again, you will see that it will now prompt me to give password once. Now it's asking me for the password of other ID, which in this case is for Twitter. And now you can see it says that the keys are loaded. It logged all the keys. Then it gave a message that to go to the directory that you want to work with, open it using vscode, right? Now if I do SSH at list, you see both the keys are loaded for my personal Gmail and for my company ID for Twitter, right? Which is of course a dummy ID. If I close this now, and if I open it again, no problem, the keys are already loaded. And if I give SSH at list, you can see that the keys are there, right? Now it's very easy. If I want to work with my company account, all I have to do is open Visual Studio Code or IntelliJ from here. Now before I do this, because this is a dummy ID, and this will prompt me for password because, well, I'm not a user of Twitter. Let me do one thing. I will pause the video. I will open my actual company profile. I will clear this whole log, and then I will open Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I'm pausing the video right now. Okay, so now I'm unpausing the video. What I've done is, instead of putting this dummy profile file with Twitter, now I have put my real company profile there so that you can work with it. You'll still not be able to see any details because well, I masked it. So for example, now if I go and open, let's say change directory, and if I go to D, call it Twitter, change directory API, and now if I open Visual Studio Code, you will see that it will launch Visual Studio Code. And actually, if I want to do any git pull or git push now, I will be able to do so, right? There's no problem. I was able to push code on my git branch, so it's possible. If I want to do the same thing on, let's say, maybe change directory, change directory, change directory 0, and then if I open Visual Studio Code, so if I try to do a git push here, I'm also able to do it, right? So for this to work, actually another important thing which I should mention is to be able to open IntelliJ or to be able to open Visual Studio Code, your bin should be on the path of your environment variables, right? So do remember to do that. Let's also open IntelliJ. Now since I mentioned that, so if I open IDEA 64.exe dot, you will see that I will also be able to open IntelliJ on project 0, and if I do git push, I am able to push the code, right? Let's try something else. Let's go back, change directory, change directory to Twitter API, and if I do idea 64.exe dot, where would you like to open the project? New window, and you will see that we should be able to push code from here as well. Now this time it did ping me for password. It should not have, like last time when I tried it, it did not ping me for password. But let's see. Yeah, so this could be a thing. I don't know. I don't want to really spend more time on it, because last time when I tried it, I was able to open IntelliJ, but IntelliJ is something that works on and off, but Visual Studio Code works all the time. So for me, I like to personally work with Visual Studio Code. So now, because with Visual Studio Code, you can look at the files. In Bash, it becomes a little bit difficult, and with Visual Studio Code, you can see what files are changed, what values change. So it gives you an easier way to work with VS Code. The one problem which we still have is, if I go to Visual Studio Code and if I say, for example, gitconfig user.name, it gives me name of my company, which is fine. But if I go and do the same for, let's say, for my company name, it still gives me the same name, and that is because at this moment we have one gitconfig file, and in this gitconfig file I mentioned this is my username and this is my email. And what you want to do is, like if you're working on a company project and if you're working on a hobby project, you want your company name to be present in the company repository, and you want your personal name to present in your hobby repository, so that when you're pushing commits, you don't mix things. And that is a topic which we can cover in the next video, right? So stay tuned, and in the next video we will show you how you can have correct emails and correct usernames for both your personal account and for your company account. So I hope you learned something new in this video, and I look forward to see you guys in another video. See you. Cheers. Bye.